Greetings, everybody. This is Zachamus Prime, aka Zachamus Prime, bringing you another Transformers third-party review. This is a figure that I recently bought from titanonetoys. titanonetoys is #1 place for toys and collectibles. And the figure that I'm going to be reviewing today is the Unique Toys Peru Kill, or also known as their movie Lockdown. This figure is super, super awesome. I have been looking forward to this actually for a long time, and actually the reason I was so full disclosure, I've never really been the biggest fan of the movies. I like to tell people that I don't particularly like the movies themselves, but I really like what they did for the franchise, and that absolutely stands true. The movies really brought Transformers back to the forefront like it was when I was a kid. And I think that that's super cool. And a lot of the stuff that we've got has been thanks to the movies and the popularity of them, and whatnot. But yeah, I've always thought the designs were just dumb in the Age of Extinction. And the more recent couple movies have been even worse because like the transformations make even less sense, and there's even less sign that whatever it is transforms. I mean, if you look at Optimus Prime in the most recent two movies versus the first three, like in the first three, yeah, he was like this jumbled mess of car parts, but I mean, he was a jumbled mess of car parts. In the new movies, he's not even that. He's just a robot. Just a robot. Anyhow, I digress. I saw this figure and I saw it in its car mode, and I was like, what the fuck? That transforms? And the transformation and design of the movie figures, the design of the toys has really intrigued me, especially when it's a well-made one. The way it turns from just this thing into just a sleek looking, vehicle. And that's what I like about them, is that, a well-designed movie figure in its robot mode looks nothing like a vehicle whatsoever. And in its vehicle mode looks nothing like a robot whatsoever. Whereas you've also got these, half-assed designed ones where they're like, oh yeah, it's a robot, but here's like half the vehicle hanging off the back of it, not that clever. So this guy I was super impressed with. Those of you who are new to my channel may not notice anything out of the ordinary. Those of you who've been watching for a while, all like 3 of you, will notice that I am starting in robot mode now. I know that basically every video reviewer starts in vehicle mode and turns it into robot mode. My feelings on that is that because it is a lot easier to transform a figure into robot mode than it is to transform it into vehicle mode. Because there's a lot more precision involved, a lot more finagling involved. It takes a bit longer. All that in mind, though, it means that there are a lot of videos on YouTube showing you how to turn a figure into its robot mode, but almost none of them showing you how to turn a figure back into its vehicle mode. So that's what I'm going to do from here on out. I expect I will probably be doing figures from robot mode into vehicle mode. So let's start with accessories. He comes with his big gun. It's a nice big gun too. He now, one of the things that's a bit weird about this figure is that he doesn't actually hold anything in his hands whatsoever. His hands are just really, they don't have any kind of peg system in them. They don't have any kind of slots or anything like that. So what there is there's this peg hole right here and this peg right there, and that will just plug right in to his forearm, and then you just kind of like wrap his hand around the handle as if he was holding it, And it's like, ta-da! Now he's holding the gun. And I think that it looks all right. Um, it's a bit harder to pull off, some of the more dynamic poses when you've got the posability. Like for example, because it's plugged into his forearm and not his wrist or his hand, you can't rotate his wrist, and you can't rotate the angle of the gun in his hand. And so you can't rotate it to get it around his elbow if you wanted to have him pull it up and hold it to the side very well. So it's more difficult to get. I mean, it's not impossible, but it's more difficult to get the like two-handed poses and whatnot. But I mean, you can do a few of them. You can do a couple of them, so that's something. There is also no real storage for this gun. Granted, it wasn't stored anywhere on his body in the movie. But yeah, there's not really any way to do that. There's a peg here. I wonder if that'll fit, actually. Just out of curiosity. Nope, not at all. So, yeah, I don't know. So, but he has a gun. It's a very nice looking gun. It's pretty accurate to what it looked like in the movie. And he is able to do the gun face. What you would do for that is you would pop out this right here, and you would fold this down, and that exposes this peg in here. And that peg actually goes into the back of his head. And so you put this over his head like this, and you pull it out. It's on a spring, and it expands out. The peg goes into that hole. And then this peg here, there's a tiny little slot right there in his back, and it just fits right in. Like that. And there's his gun face, as seen in the movie. Time to go shoot the crap out of some Optimus Primes, Yeah. But, I don't know. I got this figure. I like him a whole lot. I've been a fan of Lockdown ever since Transformers Animated, when Lockdown was first introduced. And so I've got, the original Lockdown toy and the Blazing Lockdown toy, and excuse me. Oh, pardon me. And I've got the what was it? Hunt for the Decepticons Lockdown, the like movie aesthetic Lockdown that we got shortly after Revenge of the Fallen. And yeah, so I mean, I've got a lot of Lockdowns, and I like my Lockdown toys. I like the character. I think that they did a good job of him in the movie, more or less. But one of the things that he's got that none of the other toys that we got for Lockdown ever really had is let me get this all folded away. We've got this attachment here, which we can just plug into a hole in the back of his hand. And he's got, in this mode, it's kind of like a little like punch knife thing. But you can also flip this out, and he's got his claw, which has been iconic to the character since Transformers Animated. And they did include that on him in the movie, which I thought was awesome. And but yeah, this is just a pretty simple construction. It's actually just 3 parts and a couple pins, and that one piece of articulation. He does come with this little like seed thingamajig, which I thought was kind of a weird I don't know. It was kind of a weird thing for the movie. It was a weird plot device for the movie, but he's got it. I think it's scale-wise a little big. If you remember, Stanley Tucci was like carrying around in a duffel bag, whereas this is like a really big ice cream cone. He also comes with an alternate face, showing his when we first see him, he's got his face mask on. And I could pry his face off and put this one on. It's just a simple peg system, but it is also kind of tight and kind of a pain in the ass. So I'm just gonna like hold it up like that, so that we can pretend that's what it looks like. Alrighty, and then last but not least, I don't know, maybe least actually, he comes with one of his little Cybertron dogs. That he kept on his ship. And you can tell from looking at this figure that this is not where any of the engineering went to. The legs are just on simple ball joints. Just a simple hinge at the elbows and knees, respectively, and a little ball joint on the end of the foot. And there's a double ball joint on the neck, so you get a fair degree of articulation out of it. The eyes are, if you like shine this like this, like a little bit of light will get through to the other side, but there's not really any like light piping. There's just light piping that goes from this eye to this eye, which is almost useless. But I mean, it doesn't look bad. You can attach the gun. If we put this part out, fold this part in, and maybe put that back in a little bit. This slot right here will plug into this tab right here. So the dog can hold the gun, gives you something to do with it when it's not like attached to this guy. And that's it for accessories on him. For size comparison, I've got the movie Bumblebee. And this is another thing, and I'll show this off again once I get to the vehicle modes. Another thing that really impressed me about this toy is that not only does it look so vastly different in robot mode than in vehicle mode, but also I thought it was kind of dumb in the movie how a car, he turns into the Lamborghini Aventador, a car that's basically the same size as Bumblebee's car mode, somehow turns into a robot that's basically the same size as Optimus's robot mode. And I'm like, okay, Bumblebee, small car, small robot. Optimus, big truck, big robot. Lockdown, small car, big robot. And Michael Bay says there's no mass shifting in his movies, which is a crock of shit, by the way. But the fact that that Unique Toys like did this, where they're like, yeah, we're going to take a car and we're going to make it about the same size as the Masterpiece Bumblebee, but he turns into a robot about the same size as the Masterpiece Optimus Prime, movie Optimus Prime. And I was just nothing but impressed by that, and still am nothing but impressed by it. It is an amazing piece of engineering. So there's some comparison right there. Let's get on to his articulation. His head, unfortunately, is really restricted. It'll only go back and forth that much. I do wish that there was some sort of secondary joint in here that gave him some clearance around his collar. But I think that having a better, range of articulation in his head would have been really nice. His shoulders will move out all the way without even bumping his head. That's nice. He'll go all around all the way. He's got double jointed elbows. He's got an elbow swivel here, wrist swivel. Wrist will move like that. All of his fingers, all four fingers, are all one piece that are hinged right here and right here. So he can form a fist. His thumb is on the little ball joint. He can form a fist-ish, but it doesn't really look that great. I found that my favorite type of pose for him is just to kind of curl his hands a bit and have it more of like a relaxed type pose. He does not have an So this is basically what constitutes a waist swivel for him, and it's not much. Given the design of the figure, the fact that they've got that much in there is awesome, and I commend them for it. Absolutely. There are a number of times that I've had figures where there's like no waist swivel, and I'm like, surely they could have just like cut something just below the waist and done that. And that's exactly what they did here. And so I like that they have it in there. It is not a full featured waist swivel is just what I'm going to point out there. There's some die cast in his ass, his butt plate, and these little flaps right here. He's got like 7 springy flaps on him, by the way. He's got these ones in the legs here, these ones in the arms here, 1 in each foot, and 1 in the chest. So he's got actually quite a bit of springy flaps on him for whatever reason. I mean, yeah, this one and this one is here to like fill out some space, though. I mean, this could have easily been just a hinge thing. Anyhow, his hips will go forward. If you pull them out a little bit, like they'll go around his crotchal area and go up a bit if you go out as well. But they'll go up just going straight. They'll go that forward and that back. They'll actually go more back than they will go forward. His hips will also go out that much, like maybe like half a Van Damme. His knees are actually kind of an issue for me. I don't really like the way this has been done. And the reason for it being, so you've got your knee right here, okay, which is great and it's clicky and whatnot, but when you're posing this figure, it is so much easier if you're just holding it right here and bend it, it will, as you'll see, it will start bending right here at this transformation joint. And then when you bend it back, it bends again at the transformation joint, and there's no locking mechanism for this transformation joint, and so you just get it like flopping all around, which does expose a nice piece of detail in there. Like, this is a detail that is technically not seen in robot mode and also not seen in car mode, but they decided to put, you know, like little details in there and little pipes and paint apps and whatnot. And so I think it's a nice piece of detail, but if they had some way to lock this down, like that would get it locked down. If they had some way to make this lock into place, that would be perfect. For ankle articulation, he's got a fair amount of ankle articulation side to side and front to back. No rotation here, just a universal style joint. One thing I do have, I've got these windshields here, or these side view mirrors down in his foot. This is where they go in the car mode. You can pull them up and put them, oh, I just dropped it. You can put them up and put them in this hole right here. And this is what I actually prefer to do in robot mode, because not only does it kind of fill out that shoulder subtly, but it streamlines his foot quite a bit. And it's a nice place to put it. If you put it all the way in, because it will go in all the way. It'll slide into that peg as far as you'll go, pretty much. It is a pain in the butt to pull out. You're not going to really break anything, but a lot of twisting and pulling to get that out. So I decided not to do that right now. But he's a good figure. He's not what I would classify as a highly articulate figure, but he is an extremely well-designed figure. Let's get down into the transformation, and I'll show you some of the cool things about it. So to start off, we're going to do the arm. So we're going to flip this down, flip this around. There is let's see if I can get the lights in the right angle. There's a panel right here that flips over onto a peg on his upper arm. You'll need to get that out. And then the whole arm will rotate right here. See, here's his elbow swivel, and this is where you'll need to rotate it. Rotate it 90 degrees. And then bring this up. As you bring this up, bring the hand around to what is now going to be the back. And the thumb is going to rotate, and you'll see there's this gap in the forearm right here. The thumb basically fits right into that gap. And then the hands fold flat behind that. And that is an arm all done. Let's do the same with the other arm. Fold that down, fold this in, unpeg that panel, rotate it right there, fold that up, rotate his wrist all the way around, put his thumb in the slot, and that is 2 arms all done. Now we're going to take his chest and we're going to fold up these tiny little panels on the side here, and that's going to expose. I mean, these pegs are technically already out, but this is going to expose them so that they can be accessed. We're going to pull up on his chest, and we're going to lift this space here to make a gap that his head will go through. And we're going to fold that down. And this is kind of where it's going to hang out for just a little bit, because we've got a couple things that we need to do. Now we're going to take and we're going to unpeg these flaps here on his waist. And that will disconnect this whole area here that pegged in on these 2 little pegs here. So we're just going to take that out. We're going to unpeg this back section. There's a single peg that holds it in right here. And now we've got all this car mode going on. So we're going to take this, we're going to fold this out on this panel, on this hinge right here. And we are going to start putting things into their position. His face, there's this depression in here. No, not that depression. Yes, this depression. Right there. And that will just kind of park his head there for a bit. And we'll be able to take this, his chest panel is kind of on this double joint. And it will fit down onto it like that. And fit down pretty flush, actually. So now we've got this. This whole section, by the way, is on, you can see this double joint system in here. Okay? And so with this all folded down, there's this peg here is going to fit into this. Let's see if I can get a reflection on it. This peg, this slot right here at the end of my thumb. And so that will fold down and peg in. And this one again will fold down. Come on. Peg in. Boom. And now to lock these parts in place, we're going to take this whole front bumper. It's on a double hinge. Rotate it down. And it pegs into these little pegs right here. Oh, I got to make sure that the little chest flap is not in the way. All right. Now we're starting to get somewhere. And it's not a gear walk mode, even though it kind of looks like it's getting there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to straighten out this roof section, start to move these windows into position. We're going to put these down. They'll just fit right into there. And we're going to leave them there for a moment. Because when we get this all, now we're going to focus on this. So we're going to pull this dick plate up. This is on a double hinge as well, by the way, in here. So we're going to pull this so it's like out like that. And now we are going to rotate his thighs so that the screws are facing down and his buttocks are facing in. They will push together against the springs that's on there. His knees will bend forwards. And we will be able to, you'll notice that there are 2 slots right there. And these are the corresponding tabs right here. So those tabs will go into those slots. like so. The whole chest, the whole roof area will kind of start to slide together. And then there's these 2 slots in his dick plate that will go onto those 2 tabs that are on his arms. Now we've got the whole like core of it all tabbed together. So let's untab, this is on the back of his leg, let's untab these panels here from both sides. And these will kind of rotate around. We're not going to put them in yet because that'll kind of get into the way. We're just going to leave them hanging out on the bottom. But like, we're going to get them as out of the way as we can, but not actually get them all the way out of the way because we don't have them. We don't have that available to us yet. So this panel right here is going to, it is actually on a ball joint, and it's going to pull out. You're going to unfold it. Unfold it. There we go. And then it will rotate up. And we'll be able to fit that in there in a second. But let me just worry about this one side for now. So here's his foot. Will go down. There's this panel right here in between his toes. Will come out. And now we're going to kind of press this into place. Get all this looking coherent. Now there is a tab right there that will go into a slot right here. And it's kind of finicky. What you got to do is when you put it in, you have to push down. There's a spring-loaded panel right here. You have to push down on that and then like slide this all into place. And then you got to kind of finagle it until it gets into the proper placement. And you'll feel it when it goes home. Unfortunately, you really can't see it. You just have to, you have to rely on touch. There it is. It just went in. Let's do the same with the other. Pull this out, extend to this panel, pull that up to get it out of the way. Extend out his foot, get the little toe plate out. Let's see how this all just kind of forms into a coherent side of a car. Keep in mind, when you're putting his foot in, this little tab right here, it actually wants to slide. This part here wants to slide underneath that. Not just tab over it, but slide underneath it. And so get all that into the proper position. And there it goes, just tabbed into place. Last but not least, we're going to take these 2. These will tab into place. Going to fold out his windshields. And there he is in his car mode. And what a wonderful car mode it is. It looks really, really nice. It's really like, I mean, yes, there's a lot of, you know, panel lines and whatnot on it. I mean, clearly this is a transformer. But it actually, like, the panels line up really, really well. I would even say that they line up better than like the Masterpiece Bumblebee. Hardly any space underneath. There's just, this is the design of this figure is just on a whole nother level. Like, I don't even know what it takes to like think this through. Here he is for size comparison. Here he is next to the Masterpiece Bumblebee. Now, if you measure up these 2 cars, actually, the Chevy Camaro and the Lamborghini Aventador are both 188 inches long. The Camaro, I think, is 188.4, and the Aventador is more like 188.7. But they are supposed to be basically the same size. So these aren't perfectly in scale with each other. But I think that it works out pretty well for displaying it on your shelf or whatnot. I think that that's pretty good. And the fact that he turns from a vehicle this small into a robot that big is just mind-blowing. It's like a real life mass shifting. It really is. None of his accessories really have any place in the car mode, except if you really, 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 really want to. You can flip this out on this peg right here and plug it into the back right there. And it looks pretty retarded. But just the design of this figure is really, really nice. They've got all the sculpt. The whole car body is done in this like gunmetal, like metallic, dark gray. The windows are translucent, like a smoke clear. There's nothing underneath it to look at, but the fact that they are done in that clear plastic anyhow, like, I mean, it really makes it look nice. The front headlights are like that. You got the tail lights are painted red. I believe they are painted. I don't think that they're cast in a red clear plastic. And just the design of this figure is top notch. The presentation is really good. Like if I spin this, you can see that the whole brake and caliper system underneath is painted, you know, and just even little details like these corner lights there, like just so much work went into this, you know, and it looks so nice. It is. I mean, I remember when Unique Toys first came out, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna make a Predaking," and it looked dumb. You know, I mean, it was just basically like they took they took the G1 figures and just kind of threw in a little bit of extra articulation, and they looked spindly, and they looked weird, and they looked misproportionate, and they just looked dumb. But ever since then, like, Unique Toys has been getting better and better and better with every release. And that's one of the things that I love about watching Unique Toys, is seeing that progression. Seeing that they're not, you know, stagnating at all. KFC, I'm looking at you. It's a really, really nice car. It's a really, really nice robot. It's an amazing transformation. And it rolls quite nicely. Oh yeah, forgot to mention rubber tires. So, you know, if that's your thing, then that's definitely a thing. But yeah, Lockdown is awesome. Peru Kill from Unique Toys is a fabulous offering. If you are looking at, I'm actually thinking about, because I got Bumblebee because I liked the engineering on him. I got this guy because I liked the engineering on him. I've been looking at that Alien Attack Dino because I like the engineering on him. I may just start collecting a bunch of masterpiece style movie figures, and make a display of that. I think that would be kind of interesting to have, just as an tribute to the engineering. But anyhow, thank you all for watching. This feels like a really short way to end up, because there's not as much to describe about a car mode as there is about a robot mode. But thank you everybody for watching. Go ahead and leave me a comment, like, and subscribe. Share it with your buddies. Let them all know if they need help transforming their Peru Kill into vehicle mode. This is the video to do it with. So yeah. All right, everybody, you're all awesome. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day. Be good to each other.